way to beat a predictor is to do the unexpected. As Daisy makes a play to save her sister, while Phil and May embrace the new them. Plus, Sousa in space! On this week's the penultimate, ante-penultimate, we'll figure it out, episode of Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E.R.S, Season 7, Episode 11. Brand new day. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E.R. So yes, of course, spoilers coming your way. And as always, do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Just get a little bit of time, take a look down in the description below. We'll have this whole review broken down into easily digestible chunks. Titleized, time stamped. You can go to your favorite parts. You can watch the end first. You can watch the beginning last. You can watch this review in any order you'd like. All right, and before we get to the review proper, just a couple of brief announcements. One, do want to remind you about our big fan contribution episode of Fans of S.P.O.I.L.E. That's this Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. And that is going to be, of course, where you get to be part of the show. Join us live, be part of the chat, and then we'll put out a little link. You can jump on board. You know, make sure you tidy up your space behind you and everything. Look appropriate, please. But you can be part of the show. Ask questions, be part of answers. We'll have little discussions. We had a great time when we did this at the mid-season. And so now we get a chance to, of course, talk a little bit about how we felt about this season, a little expectations for what we're going to see for the finale, get our emotions out and fresh before we dive into the big finale next week. So, once more, Fans of S.P.O.I.L.E., where you're one of the fans. This Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central, of course, as always. Join us live, be part of the show. Also, kind of emotional, just want to take a moment before getting into everything here and just say a big thank you to all of you who have watched all of these reviews over the years. Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E. is why I started doing reviews. I love the show so much, I wanted to be able to share it with as many people as I could and throw in my 2 cents. I've been doing this for 5 years now. Plus, Agents has always been the big drive, the one that has fueled me for it, and it's where I've met so many wonderful people in chat, in discussions, on Twitter. I'm getting a little emotional right here now. But it's been great. And before we get into the big finale, before we get into all that, I just want to take a moment here and just thank all of you who have shared this journey with me, that we have had this together. It's really meant a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. So, thanks. All right, so let's get to a little more serious stuff now. All right, awesome. The episode itself. First off, let's throw out a big thanks to Chris Fryer, the writer of tonight's episode. His first episode of television ever! You know, you're part of a group and everything and a writer, and this got to be his first big one. So, you know, nice to do by the end of a show. Was a little nervous when I saw that, but wow, what an episode. Really, you know, again, exciting, some great character bits, some great setup, but a lot of wonderful choices, actions, moments. You know, again, we got our big finale next week, and I think this was a perfect setup for it. We got characters doing new things. We've got them being smart, which I always love. That's the one thing about Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E. is they always have characters, you know, making intelligent choices, and the fact that they can very often all be on the same page at the same time. As a team, it makes sense. And the fact that we are talking about in this episode, the fact that this may be the end of the team, and, you know, in a way that it is, I thought they hit these moments very well without dwelling sappily on them. The episode, I thought, moved very well. I like that we have our little split. So we have what's going on in the Quinjet heading up towards space with some wonderful character bits right there. Not only between Daisy and Sousa, but between Daisy and Mac, and between Mac and Sousa. I mean, everyone had their little moments. That was kind of the great thing about the, I think, the Quinjet scene specifically, is because we got Daisy doing her big action and choices and such early on, it propelled them into a scene where basically there wasn't anything they could do but talk. So it was one of those natural moments where in the storyline, you should be able to talk. Sometimes they like to have discussions, like last week, Jiayang and Daisy having that kind of heart-to-heart while in the battle with Nathaniel. To me, not a good choice to be having those heart-to-hearts. But here, you're in space, it's hours, it's going to be a while, there's nothing to do, you got to, these are moments where you can have great character bits. And they really took advantage of that. Meanwhile, of course, we've got May and Phil embracing the new sense of them, what they can do, kind of accepting those changes unto themselves, which I think were great moments. Push the story forward. I liked Korra. I liked better in this episode than I did last, and I realized I like Korra when she's small, when she is being honest and forthright. The smaller discussions between her and Daisy, I like, even between her and May to a certain extent. When she's just being kind of natural and human, I really enjoyed her performance. To me, I think when she just goes a little villainy, goes a little over the top, I think it just gets a little bit too much. And I think that's probably why I had the real problem with Korra last week. This, I think they gave her a few more months to at least kind of pull back a little bit. But we do get those kind of plays of emotions of kind of May being motherly to Korra, and at the same time giving her, what was the line she used? Something nobody else has ever given her. The truth, or has rarely given her. So, I mean, again, it was just, there were some great character moments here while setting us up for our big finale with a wonderful ending there of S.H.I.E.L.D. bases blowing up and saving one nice effect shot for the Triskelion there at the end. Just seeing the little blips, the radio go out, I thought was a nice sort of subtle way of them being in the lighthouse, feeling, oh my God, what has happened as the lights go out, and save the big one shot for the Triskelion going out. And that looked beautiful. Perfect way to sort of end the episode and make us fearful, tenacious, and excited for the big finale to come next. Oh, and of course Fitz. A little bit of Fitz action going on this episode too, so felt a little more complete than that. Alright, little break from tradition from what we've been doing this season. I'm going to start out actually with the opening of this episode because I loved how they set everything up. The close shots, the slow motion aspect, the soft focus, out of focus little moments. Beautiful way of setting up tension. We are with Daisy in that moment as she's watching the blip go across and try and track and see where everything going. It was a wonderful way of bringing us right into the episode. And kind of setting up that motion. Plus, it gives a great focus with Daisy, which I think was a really important thing to do with this episode. With Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ending, I'm not sure where Chloe Bennet goes next. If she's going to take a little break, if she's got other projects that are sort of lined up. Transitioning from being on a television show, a lead in a television show, to something else after can be rough. Usually people tend to stay in TV. It's hard to jump back up into movies. Can she do that? I would love to see more of it, but I think giving her a lot of focus in these episodes to really shine and really show what she can do, I think is a great choice for the show to really give Chloe as an actor a great platform to hopefully spring off of. So I kind of love the bits that we're focusing on her in this. And also her regret for dealing with Nathaniel. I mean, I love the fact that she's just like, man, I should have taken him out immediately. And I'm not going to make the same mistake here. because it was perfect. How she came up right, Cora right there, was awesome. Great use of power, very simple. Hits her, slams her, lifts her up, and then can just hold her there. Subtle, effective, direct. I enjoyed it. Well, not too subtle, but not giant. Just what it needed to be to make a statement. I loved it. And the fact, again, that we sort of were getting into the sort of new world. The fact that they set up, haven't you figured this out? It's a new timeline. The one that you were thinking, that is long gone. It really sets us up into a very precarious position. Is there a way to go back to things? Is there a way to actually save the timeline? Or is this just going to be about saving humanity and stopping the Chronicoms? The brand new day aspect. Which, again, taking a little two directions in with this episode. Later on with May and Phil kind of embracing their new selves. Love that. Here with Cora, it's more along the lines of, it's a new day, so we can do things all different. You know what S.H.I.E.L.D. should be? More like Hydra. Which, again, was kind of saying, the list of 30 names that could change everything. I mean, again, it does feel like a sort of play against Nathaniel from Sybil's standpoint, especially at the end when they're just starting to take out S.H.I.E.L.D. What? I don't know. I guess a deal could be if S.H.I.E.L.D. is taken out and thus can't be a threat to the Chronicoms, then Earth could live. But I think Sybil wants Earth for herself, so I don't even know if these 30 names mean anything. I love the fact that Ward comes up later on with that idea. And, of course, Phil appropriately even turning that back then. Yeah, well, but we saw a reality where Ward was good. You've already recruited the guy that turned him around. But we saw an option where, depending on who saves him, he could be something else. But it effectively is Insight, 3.0 now? 2.5? Sort of an adjustment. And that was the kind of sort of a little bummer thing. I mean, not from an aspect of writing, but just from a motivational, is even at the aspect of let's change S.H.I.E.L.D. into something else. It's still just kind of Hydra. Well, we just kill the right people. I mean, I know you kill people to save people, so I mean, both sides do kill. But I guess if you're intending to kill to save people in the future, doesn't the punishment come after the crime? I think, didn't somebody say that? Sounds familiar. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's just sort of kind of the sad thing. It's like, yes, in your quest, Nathaniel's quest here to be set up for a new world, as much as he tried to not be Hydra, his motivation ultimately does become the same thing. We can choose how the world's supposed to go, and if we take out our enemies ahead of time, hey, it just stops for more collateral damage from happening down the road. Which is great justification for doing horrible things. But anyway, it was sort of a perfect way to set up the episode, the drive, the tension, and of course we get that beautiful little scene between Cora and Daisy talking about family, and yeah, finding Sybil correctly sussed out that Daisy, there is no future where Daisy will let her sister fight alone. And she's right. Because that gets us to our Scene of the Week for this week. And this is Daisy just turning it around. Technically, I guess the big scene, if we have to focus on one sort of little brief moment on this, it would be once they get on the Quinjet. But the whole setup for that. One, Daisy back in her Quake suit. Awesome! Love Sousa's reaction, and that's different. Just seen her in normal clothes mostly before now, not in her actual battle outfit. But I just, again, Daisy doing, she's figured it out. Look, it's like right at the end of the scene, she had that moment, you're right, and leaves. And the fact that she is... Again, I love when characters are smart, and Daisy is a great agent from a character standpoint. She should be smart enough to figure this out quickly and know exactly what she needs to do. And she does, and she plays it out, and that does a perfect drive for the whole rest of their little arc and all the character moments that we get later on. Sybil is a predictor. She works on levels of probability. People doing what they normally do, even within a range. The only way to go outside of that is to do the unexpected. Now, technically, I guess Daisy going off on her own would be sort of the a very expected part, but not leaving her sister. And I love how she plays that out perfectly. You're right, I'm not going to leave my sister behind, but I have another sister, and her name is Gemma Simmons. I mean, seriously, by the time she got to the end of the whole speech of pulling Sousa along and saying, hey, you would never do this, right? Then perfect, you're coming along with me. It was just, I was cheering. When she said that, when she said, I'm not leaving, I've got another sister, her name is Gemma Simmons, that is jump in the air, fist pump character moment. It was awesome. I'm like, they're 10 minutes in, I've already got a scene of the week. I can't wait to see where the rest of this episode goes. And then Max shows up. Again, another just perfect addition right there. Daisy tells him exactly what's going on. He can't argue with her. And the fact that he already has his bag with him? How much was he not thinking? Once he saw something going on, did he figure out? Yes, because the team is smart. And they think together. They work together. This week is going to be the end. I'm going to need a minute. And of course, that takes us to Sousa in Spaaace! I know, I'm playing with a lot of audio effects this review. Again, just basically some great character moments. Here, some great discussions. We have Daisy and Mac having a little one-on-one, a little connection there. Daisy concerned, this is going to be our final mission, and Mac's just acceptance of it. A little bit older, he sees transitions, he knows how things can be. Love the fact, there are things called phones, we could call people up. Hey man, transition is what life is about. And I think that's sort of what Mac was kind of like subtly getting to. But of course, through that also sussing out the little Sousa connection there. Subtle. I love the Daisy Mac relationship. I love the older brother, younger sister kind of bit. It's just the fact that they can jab at each other and play with each other and hit those good little moments in jest and not cruelly. Just again, great writing, great acting, great character connection, great work being done here. That, of course, turns us around to a great Mac and Sousa moment where Sousa gets the talk. There's a couple of talks they talk about. There's a Phil talk later on, too. We'll get to that. But Sousa gets more of this talk. And I love Mac's direction when he does this. It's just, what are your intentions? I don't have any intention. Well, you damn well better figure out some, because once she figures out how much she likes you, she's coming for you, man. Again, very, very direct. And even the threat there, again, dealing more with our agents, our family here. As Daisy was so concerned about losing when she spoke with Mac. And he's very right. You know exactly who you are in any circumstance. The people around you help you find who you are. But even on her own, Daisy's going to be Quake. Which again becomes another great moment. I loved, again, I'm sorry, I was just getting sidetracked onto it. The threat there that Mac had given. It's like, you're just going to have to deal with more than me. All of the agents, the whole family that you're coming into, they will kick your ass. And yes, there's a lot of very fancy high-tech shield equipment that they have to use about it. So again, great little bit, and ending it with the whole Quake idea. The Man Out of Time and Quake. Sounds like a comic book cover. It's like, really? But Quake? Which again gives us our last little Sousa Daisy moment there at the end. Just jabbing again perfectly. Okay, Quake. Don't you call yourself Quake? Is it smart to upset somebody that can do that? Sure, yeah, you could Quake me, because that's what you do, because your name's Quake. The more you say it, it does. Sousa's right. It does sound very silly. But I guess that's with any superhero name. Right? And also, yeah, she's right. She didn't give it to herself. The press gave it to her. In the show. In the comics, no. She actually comes up, says, "I want to be a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to be part of the Avengers, and I want you to be, and I want to be called Quake." That's like how she introduces herself. So, yeah, Quake. Meanwhile, also in space, we've got Gemma and Deke. Well, Deke having a great moment too. I love, and we get even to the opener. I was hoping that we would have his Nakatomi Plaza moment. But that didn't last. I was expecting that because Deke was the one at a time, because he was from that future, that he would be a little less predictable. But apparently not. I mean, the Zephyr's not that big of a ship. I guess you could sort of figure that out, and a teleporter can certainly look around very easily. Garrett's gotten more used to his powers. Again, great seeing Garrett. Glad they used a little less of him in this episode. But sad for Deke not getting his whole Die Hard moment. That would have just been awesome. I would have loved to have seen at least a little bit of that in the episode. That would have been fun. But no, not to be had. Got captured. Being used now as a pawn for Nathaniel getting info from Gemma. Which is a mistake. Don't threaten Gemma. Great moment again there just before they bring Deke in. When Nathaniel breaks down and hits her. And she just looks back. Man, that steely look. It's like you have no idea. The crap that you're preparing yourself for. The mind that you're trying to go against. But props up to Nathaniel for actually diving into Gemma's mind to look around. And we got to see finally some new Fitz stuff. I was afraid there was just going to be flashbacks when we saw him sort of inserting himself into some of these moments. But it was also kind of excited, like, oh, great, they're going to fill in some of this time lost here between when Enoch were kind of pulled Fitz and Simmons away to build the time machine to when we saw her show up at the end of 6 to rescue everyone. So how did all of that happen? I was hoping we'd get a little bit more in that. And we got a few moments. We got a few little bits. Which to me reinforces that Fitz is dead. Blood work. They brought up blood work and and this is before we knew. And the last scene was in the framework and not alive. So perhaps, I don't know, Fitz is dying. For some reason, maybe something, the result of being in space for so long, being exposed to something, some sort of poison in him. He's degrading early on. They can speak physically. And then after that, his body's degrading, and so the only way to sort of engage is going to be into this sort of framework, little setup mind thing that Sybil and them interacted in. Again, just theoretical, just guessing, but it does not feel good. Certainly not from Gemma's whole reaction there. Now, I have to say, from a design standpoint, the glowing when you're under stress seems to be a dead giveaway that you have a brain implant. Before that, it might have taken a little while, at least for Nathaniel to sort of figure that out. But the glowing effect, that was sort of that's a bad design, I'm just saying. I mean, the Chronicons would have sussed that out real easy. Anyway, just sort of saying. But yeah, and then of course we do have our kind of end that after the little trauma that Nathaniel does, trying to dig into Fitz, Gemma did said the deeper you try to dig in, the further back Fitz will pull. Like Fitz is a living memory, like maybe it's Fitz part in the machine, which is what's guiding things around. Diana has Fitz in, and that's what the implant wasn't designed to do. Ha! I mean, no, because Fitz is dead, but his brain is now inside Gemma's brain. That's my guess. And then, of course, we have the adventures in the lighthouse, where we've got Phil and May accepting their new selves. Really, in a way. Phil, hey, he's an LMD. He used to be code, so can he read code? And sort of starts to add a little bit. I love the little transition. Well, I'm catching up things. Oh, now I'm understanding. Oh, now I'm seeing again. Just sort of getting a little bit more used to it. Becoming the computer efficient at the end. May having to work her emotional self. And she has always been the sort of mom figure, having that softness within her, but generally the harsh exterior, and now can actually use those powers. I love that little conversation bit of, hey, we've got to embrace the new self. I didn't used to be this, and you didn't used to be this. Like Cora said, it's a brand new day. We got to embrace the new us. So I kind of liked that little transition, and it gave them a little bit more of a, character interaction. A little more old classic May Coulson interaction. So, I mean, that, of course, always sweet. The Cora bits, again, when Cora was being a little more subtle, a little quieter, I like those bits. When she's starting a little getting broad and over the top, I just didn't like that quite as much. But the idea behind it is kind of funny. While Phil also realizes very quickly once Daisy goes that she's heading up into space and that they've got to be the unpredictable, again, embracing these new parts of themselves as opposed to staying who they were. Cora, in the meanwhile, has been completely predictable by Sybil, both putting in and seeing that they would try to connect with Cora, and Cora would, of course, lose her temper, blow things out, and allow the power to be dropped and the firewall to go down so that Sybil could get in. Phil was right. Hello. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. She's there. I now have only hunger. Yeah, okay. Not really what you want your computer going and talking about, okay? Doesn't make you feel good in there. But Cora was also kind of right in the sense of perceiving through that May, even while she was either trying to push her to see how strong that she was or would she lose control, and also trying to reach her humanity. The fact that she is also in a way being played by the team as well. Sybil, of course, can prey on Cora's emotions and knowing that she's going to react in a certain manner. But also guess that the agents will try and connect onto her. Cora's right. This is, both sides are using her. Either using her to get her upset, or using her to calm down, using them to go after S.P.O.I.L.E., using them to go after Sybil. She does have a certain point there. And I do appreciate the fact that she was rescued by Garrett at the end, that Nathaniel didn't leave her behind. I mean, Nathaniel, obviously, no problem getting rid of people. Even Cora, no problem getting rid of people. Killing is their whole new thing. Durant, yeah, it's good seeing you go. You were kind of a jerk face. And whoever the guy that's on the ship with Nathaniel, did they stop and pick up some more guys? Because it was just Garrett, Nathaniel, and Gemma and Deke before, so they must have stopped as they escaped to pick up some extra guys. So they would have a crew, so they'd have some red shirts they could order around and kill, because I guess there's no sir in the New World Order. Very particular about not having particulars. Well, again, crazy Nathaniel. But again, didn't leave Cora behind. We get a little smooch at the end, so there's at least some attraction. Is it still manipulation? Hard to say. The show's almost over. We haven't had much time with them really to develop this, so just going to have to kind of go with that's the evil connections that we have. But a beautiful way of, I love the like I mentioned before, showing how the Chronicom attack works out, because that was perfect. They just show up and start bombing. No, Nathaniel says, okay, you've already been given your targets, fire away. That's it. They've already got all the info. Boom, 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 boom. Love that we had the hub. We lose that communication center. We see it on the map. And then just the little blink outs. But we had to have some big shots. So yeah, we've used the Triskelion before. Let's blow that up. Beautiful way to end it. And also shows, again, brand new day, because what are they going to do? It's not about getting back to a future that you can save with all of S.H.I.E.L.D. gone and the explosions, the changes that have happened, Mac's family being lost, Jiayang getting killed. It's not like you can just fix things in the future. So where do they go now? do they try and save Back to the Future, or is it just about stopping the Chronicoms now and knowing that the future is going to be whatever it's going to be? Alright, just a couple of small things. One, Yo-Yo-Yo's Mac, $20. Is that what I got? The bet on whether or not Sousa and Daisy were together. Because of course you know that conversation was going on. Again, perfect little moment that, yeah, we've been watching you two and we've been sort of guessing and figuring where things were going to go. Hey, Max made $20. Nothing wrong with that. Deke's tough. I mean, come on. I know that he's played as not necessarily the physical specimen or anything like that. Maybe not entirely capable in many ways. But he was beaten and was not giving it up. Even Nathaniel said that pain is not going to get to him. It's not going to turn him around. So, I mean, you do get the comical bit. This guy kid has nothing. Kick. Okay, he's got something. But still, Deke held out, and man, you gotta give him props for that. Friendship, not giving people up, man, Deke's the man. Look, I know Yo-Yo is badass, and you know she was gonna get those two guys that were sneaking up behind her, but really, especially with power going out and those issues, you're gonna have your back towards the door that you're supposed to be protecting. When you specifically say before that you guys are gonna have to deal with me, that was just... okay, I mean, got us in the emotional moment, but still, Yo-Yo, why would you do that? You were just messing with those guys. Speaking of Yo-Yo, I love the fact that she wanted to hear the names. When they had that moment there with Kura, was like, oh, okay, you got names? Okay, let's hear them. No, let's find out. I mean, I was curious. Was she just entertaining the idea? I mean, okay, Yo-Yo's a little direct, kind of at times, and now she doesn't have to bounce back. But I love that Grant Ward was the one that you pulled out, because it was that perfect comparison that without Garrett, oh, he could have been something worse. But we knew the truth of that is that no, actually, depending on who met Grant Ward at that critical point in his life would determine whether Grant Ward would be villainous or heroic. So again, great way of bringing Grant back up, great way of referring back to the framework, which we always love, but sort of, again, the idea that Yo-Yo very much willing to entertain the idea, and the fact that Kura steps into it makes the wrong choice of, well, here's this guy that you don't like. It did quiet May for a moment, but Phil's Phil, LMD or not, and he always does the speech. And he's good at that. I'm gonna miss that too. Yeah, I need a moment. Alright, well I think that's going ahead and wrap things up for now. So, next week, it's the end. The final 2 episodes. Which, the question is about penultimate and ante-penultimate. I mean, the penultimate episode is the episode before the last one. So, you would say that tonight would have been the penultimate episode, except there's 2 episodes back to back, so this would be the ante-penultimate, and then we get the penultimate and the ultimate behind that. And the only one that cares about this are English majors. But you deserve respect, too. You'll help us speak properly. Good on you. Anyway, none of that is important. What's more than important is the fact that it is the end next week. 7-season wrap up with an ultimate battle versus the Chronicoms. Are they going to be able to save the timeline? Are they going to be able to stop the Chronicoms? Are we going to have any chance of a reboot Disney Plus series? Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E.R.S? Any of that? Okay, no. I can't get emotional now. We still got 1 more week to hold out. But this Friday, you can get as emotional as you want. 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Fans of S.P.O.I.L.E., fan special. Be there live, be part of their show. Get on camera. Again, clean up your background, dress appropriately. Be part of the chat. Share your theories, your emotions, your feelings, your reflections. We want to hear about it. We want to share it. We can all get through together. Fans of S.P.O.I.L.E. this Friday. But that's going to wrap us up for now. Thank you guys for joining me with this review. And as always, if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, you know where to put them. Right down in the section below. What do you guys think about this episode? Do you like our setup for the finale? Do you like where we're going with this? Even though we're probably not going to end up at the Battle of New York at this point, where do you think we're going to go? Does it satisfy what you want to see in a finale? Let me know your thoughts. Throw your thoughts down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending, but we got The Boys coming up in September. Plus, we got The Mandalorian coming up in October. At some point in October, I believe it's the 4th, we'll have the finale for Walking Dead Season 10. So still a lot of stuff to catch. You won't miss any of it if you're a subscriber. Do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll go up and throw up a couple of our latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.